But there's another ideologies is got this, system of life, this political belief. Capitalism, Marxism, got that political belief. You can see now, Islam, different than Christianity, in relation to the system of life. Christianity got political belief, so they can coexist under any other political belief. Islam is a spiritual belief. They can coexist under any other political system, whether capitalism or communism, as long as they can satisfy their own ritual belief, all their own ritual duties. If they can fulfill that, they have no problem. That's why they introduce the ideas, leave what for God to God and what for Caesar to Caesar. So for them, if Caesar is capitalist or communist, or even if it's Muslims, which I think really they don't accept that, they should accept it as long as they have their own church. So they can accepting the philosophy, which is the political belief of the capitalism carry, which is called separate religion or separate God from the life affair. And therefore, they can live there, no problem. And we can see that in the West. And that's called secularism, which is the religion I call myself really for those secular people in the West. They have religion, they call it secularism or democracy or freedoms. However, that's their own political belief. Whereas Islam is different. Cannot. Because Islam has political belief as well. Like communism, Marxism, and capitalism, two political beliefs, they cannot coexist together, except will be always confrontation between each other. Always clash and confrontation. Each one believes he's right and the other is wrong. That's why, you see, before the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was always the Marxist movement under attack in the in the Western societies, and vice versa. The capitalists really in the Eastern societies, whether in the time of Soviet Union or in the Eastern societies, they always used to be suffer, and that's why it happened a lot of conflict. Islam has a political belief, therefore cannot coexist under other political belief, except if they oppose it, because the philosophy of the Western civilization based on that political belief, which is really, there is nothing called God has any sayings in the system of life, because they say it in their own secular terms. God, mind your business in the church, mind your business in the synagogue, mind your business in the mosque, and we will run our affair in the parliament. That's called secularism. That's why Islam does not accept that, because Islam is a spiritual belief and political belief. Therefore, Islam answers this fundamental question. Where we come from? God who created man, life, universe. Why? He created us to follow His commands, to make sure that He will give us the road to heaven, which we try to claim back after, the shaitan, after the devil or Iblis, we call it ourselves really the shaitan, succeeds to mislead our parents, our grandfather and mother, Adam and Eve, drive them out from heaven when they forget that God told them not to eat from that particular trees, yet He whispered to them and tell them is the tree of eternity, and they made the mistake. So therefore, it's going to be always this conflict for those who follow, the shaitan. The shaitan itself really, in fact, it is follow the man-made system. So either you believe sovereignty for God, or you believe sovereignty for man. I believe sovereignty for God, and that's my civilization based on. Emanate from that aqidah, I believe in the revelation, which is emanate from that complete system of life. You believe in the man-made system. You believe in sovereignty for man. And that's the conflict. And God destined, there will be always confrontation. And He told us in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسِ بَعْضُهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. If Allah did not make the people clashed together, people of the truth clash against people of falsehood, there will be complete mischief in the earth. There will be always conflict between truth and falsehood. So therefore, I don't think can coexist, but they can coexist by the meaning of what? Share together. You see, debate, discuss, but it's going to be confrontation between them. Struggle. Sometimes could be political, could be ideological, could be as well military struggle. What we are really facing obstacle in order to have debate and discussion, I believe, fundamentalism. Secular fundamentalism, which is really fundamentalism by default, reject other people and use violence against them. Rejection and violence. In Islam, I may reject your views. You're referring to yourself. You see, you make your own law and order in the parliament, and you play God. You make yourself legislators, and you never know what is wrong, what is right. Because the best to know what's wrong, what's right is God. What's good, what's bad is God. You believe you can know that, but you always keep it changing because you're never persisting in your own parliament. I'm sure if you look to homosexuality, 100 years ago was taboo, was something illegal, was bad. Now it's become way of life. So you always change. Therefore, I'm suffering as a Muslims who want to coexist in order to convey the Islamic message to the people who are misguided. I'm suffering from the secular fundamentalism, which is really rejecting my views and using violence in the name of the law and the so-called new law of terrorism. Wake up. There's need for a change. And I think the best way to change, to go back to basic, go back to God. I pray to God that your conference tonight will be highlight the most important element in very rational, intellectual debate for the sake of the truth to prevail. But remember, God created us to follow His command, and there is two tunnels. At the other tunnel is always light. But don't be at the wrong tunnel, because it could be the light of hellfire and could be the light of heaven. Therefore, I am, inshallah, with the word of God, I will be following the messengers and the prophet to be at the tunnel which will lead us to heaven. And I would like to invite you to Islam and think about it and never late to embrace Islam. Thank you very much for you listening to me. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh for all Muslim brothers and sisters who are in the audience. And as well, I will say to you goodbye for those who are not Muslims. Thank you.